Right, so I'm recording this Discord Q&A because I can't live stream on YouTube at the moment because I have a community strike on my main channel about a video that I made like 3 or 4 years ago, because there has been kind of post facto law brought in at YouTube where, something that was, this video had been checked and come back as monetized, fully monetized, and then they change the rules and then penalize the YouTuber themselves for things that weren't previously criminal. This has happened to Vegan Gains, where they took down his entire channel. So very concerning, in my opinion. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why they're being so unfair about it. But I mean, this is one of the core pillars of like English common law and obviously American law. You don't criminalize people for things that weren't crimes at the time when they were done. You know, even if that thing becomes a crime after the fact, that person did nothing wrong. But YouTube isn't following that. YouTube is criminalizing things that at the time were not crimes, as it were, violations of the terms of service. And so they need some kind of statute of limitations. Whenever I tweet at Team YouTube about this, they ignore me, which is interesting. The grandfather clause, that's right. So I figure I'd do a Q&A with you guys here, because I know it's nothing, right? So yeah, I was going to do the live stream on Facebook, because I can, I've got a Facebook page, got like 100,000 followers. I could have done a live stream on that and, still had a chat with you guys, because it's weird. I feel like I've kind of been cut off. I feel like a supply line's been cut off. I can't get in contact with you guys and have a chat with you or something like that. It's weird. And so, yeah, I was going to do one on Facebook. And then, a year ago, something like that, I'd posted a meme of an Islamist, a jihadi, and some raging neo-Nazi, where they're listing all of the things they hate, like gays and all this sort of stuff. And then by the end of it, they start kissing. It was a great meme, okay? It wasn't even a boomer meme, right? And yeah, so I got suspended for 30 days for that. So I can't post anything for 30 goddamn days. So yeah, I have to do this. So yeah, if you guys want to post stuff that you wanted me to talk about in the Phoenix discussion, then I'm happy to talk about any subjects. I guess I'll start with Chris Reagan, since no one's posted anything yet. I feel bad that Chris Reagan's being bullied by Louis Levi, because Louis like a very mentally strong person, and Chris has obviously had a few problems, and I'm very sympathetic that I really like Chris. I think I've met him a couple of times. He's a really, really nice guy. He's self-effacing, funny. And Louis is going on at him for not being anti-SJW enough. I don't really agree with Louis' crusade here. I think that Chris is entitled to make the content he wants to make. Not everyone has to be an anti-SJW crusader, even if they started that way. And to be honest with you, I think that it would be better for him to produce any kind of cultural content he wants, because it won't be infused with social justice, and he'll be resistant to it because he's been inoculated against the goddamn thing. I don't think that he's like Louis thinks he's going to flip or something. I don't think he's going to. And even if he did, it's his choice, isn't it? But I don't think that's a concern. I think that it's more important that Chris makes the content he wants to make, because I think that's what people should do. And it's the same with like Shu and Skeptic. People complain that they're not anti-SJW. So, well, I don't think they have to be. And to be honest with you, a lot of the legwork has already been done, because people forget that it was a very different situation back when, in like 2014, when we started talking about all of this. Like, no one could talk about feminism. You'd be in trouble. You'd be in unbelievable trouble. And that's why one of the main sort of like sources of pressure against feminism came from. Why so many people were interested in like talking about it and deconstructing it and having it refuted. It was everywhere, and it was going unchallenged broadly, and the people who were challenging it were come after. And it was people like me and then like later on like Shu and Skeptic and Chris who who had complaints about the way that intersectionality was working, and we sort of changed the game. We made it culturally acceptable to talk about social justice, and now loads of people are, and good. That's excellent. The more voices, the better. It all counts, in my opinion. And this is why I don't really like going after other anti-SJWs. I just don't see it very productive. Even if I disagree with them on a bunch of stuff, they are not the strong people in the negotiation. You're not speaking truth to power when you do a video about Black Pigeon Speaks. And Kraut, I am talking about you, man. I don't know what you're going off the rails for, but seriously, you've got to stop. Like, people keep thinking that I'm somehow responsible for the things you're doing. It's like, I have no idea. I don't even follow it anymore. But I hear that things are going on, and so, oh God, just make good content, man. You're capable of it. When am I interviewing Scruton or Murray? Well, sooner than you might think, actually. But yeah, with the Chris Ray-Gun thing, I don't think we should try and pressure people to make content to our desires. I think they can make the content they want and the market will decide. And I think that if you're looking for specifically anti-SJW content, then there are probably a lot of other content creators out there who are doing the same thing on like 10 or 15,000 subscribers, and they'd really appreciate your views. And I'm sure that there are people who are up and coming who are doing a really good job. I mean, like, one of my favorites, right, is this guy called Swamp Troll, I've been watching his videos for years, and I found him on Twitter the other day, and so I followed him. I was like, man, I love your channel. He's like, oh, you inspired me to do it. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's really awesome. That is like, that's the nicest thing someone could say to me. But this guy Swamp Troll, he's only got like 7,000 subscribers, but his videos are excellent. And he's in Sweden, so he's getting like first-hand accounts and second-hand accounts of like really, really important stuff that's going on there. Yeah, not so obvious. Like he's just interviewed Peter Hitchens, which is awesome. And so yeah, like go and check out his channel. Like there is still a big market and ecosystem for these things. It's and this is kind of why one of the reasons I stopped doing This Week in Stupid is because I really felt like I was monopolizing a lot of time, and like I don't know how to describe it, like monopolizing like something, cultural influence or something like that I would like to see those views being spread around among a lot of the people, because I mean my videos still get great views, so it's like I'm not worried about that because I'm confident in the content that I'm producing. I'm going to carry on producing good content, obviously. I think that it's time to find the next generation of content creators. And they're around. They're already there. They're just waiting for you to find them. So definitely do that. The fight is far from over, I'm afraid. But we couldn't really expect Chris Ray-Gun and Sean Ed and Ahmed Skeptic to be the ones who fought it until the beast was dead, you know what I mean? They're comedians first, like someone in the chat said, political pundit second, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I actually quite like Shu and Skeptic's movie reviews. I've been quite enjoying them. Not as good as Plinkett, obviously, but they're pretty good. Well, I'll just go through the comments now. Shu supports trans drag kids dancing on stage for money at gay bars and taking pictures with fully new men. Yeah, she's a bit more liberal than I am on that regard. I think that's probably because I'm a parent, though. To be honest, I wouldn't be happy with my son doing that. Why would anyone else be happy with their children doing it? Do I think that Not So Obvious is the best channel on YouTube aside from yourself? Oh, what do you mean aside from myself, Mark? I mean, Christ, don't. I'm not going to try and steal your valor there, mate. Is Niger my favourite African country? Don't really know if I have a favourite African country. I've never been to any of them. I guess, on paper, Botswana looks like it's doing pretty well because it's not communist. And if it's sensible, it won't go communist. Would I watch a compilation of Woz Lee's best moments from his deleted centrist videos? Yes, I would. Yes, indeed, I would. I'm very sad to see Woz decide that he's going to become an SJW. It's pretty disappointing. I was a big fan of Woz because he was so fair-handed about things. Now he seems to have gone in the complete opposite direction. sorry, I was reading the wrong chat, wasn't I? Right, okay. I am now reading the correct chat, so ask me a question. Make Sargon say the N-word. The N-word. I've taken interesting games like Bandlord, and that is called Mordhau that makes the combat 10 times better. It isn't out yet. Yeah, I'll check it out. I've been following a game called The Black Masses on Facebook. It's like a medieval zombie game with like millions of zombies on screen at once. It looks great, actually. I'll look at any links later. Overthrow the discussion room. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realise that you guys couldn't post in there. I figured that everyone could. I should have noticed that it was a public gallery, not a private one. Is Louis going off the deep end? Louis always been off the deep end, but that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons I like his channel. Is the yelling? Like that was the thing that got me into it. It was just like the passion behind it and the moral conviction. That's what I appreciate about Louis' channel. It's good takes as well. So the whole thing with Chris was a big oof. I guess. Like I actually felt he was being pressured unfairly, to be honest. Skip, Sargon is totally useless with Discord and he doesn't let anyone help him with it. I do let you guys help me with it, and I am useless with Discord. That's true. What do you think about ContraPoint's 3 hours and Sean? 3 hours is way lazier than he lets on. I've got a video planned, but I just haven't had time because honestly, they're pretty low priority. Sean is nothing. Like Sean is really, really boring, and I can't actually finish his videos out of tedium. ContraPoints makes really nice videos. I really enjoy watching ContraPoints videos, and I actually probably should do a reply to one of them, one of the more recent ones, because I think it earned one. Again, I've just been way too busy, and like other YouTubers, like the SJW YouTubers, really low priority at the moment. But I will get around to doing it because what I like about ContraPoints is that she's self-aware. And she will understand the criticisms, I think. But again, maybe she won't, and maybe she'll change completely. Who knows? Missed your videos, though I do appreciate the content you've posted. Missed you, but hope all is well. Yeah, thanks. I mean, I haven't been posting videos, just haven't been doing This Week in Stupid, that's all. But I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I really miss it." It's like, I know, I'm sorry. Maybe, I'm not never say never, but maybe I'll be able to start something up now that I'm getting a team. Because again, like the researching and the editing take loads and loads of time, and they're really tiring. And it's not my forte at all. Well, researching is, but like that's fine, But the editing specifically, and it takes all day. It takes all damn day. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so maybe
you're lazy,
dude. Mute your microphone. Have I heard of a great game called Stellaris? Yes, I have. Can Scrum get Strategos already? I don't trust Scrum to have it. And don't get me wrong, that's only because I've known him for years. Elon Musk confirmed to host Meme Review. Man, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? When is Kanye West going on Joe Rogan? I'm just on the edge of my seat for it. I can't wait. I just cannot wait for the stuff he's going to say and the outrage that's going to come out of it. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I should do one on 3 hours because he's remarkably disingenuous. But yeah, again, they're tiresome. So the N-word. Right, so I'm going to try and catch up. Do I have any advice for a GM trying to run a game where ridiculous things happen but there's a serious story in the background? Well, if I fucking did, I'd apply it to my own campaign, wouldn't I, smart noob? No. I'm sorry, I really don't. I have no idea. PewDiePie said it again, did he? Did he? When did he do that? How dare you, PewDiePie? Yeah, it does depend on the players, though. I did indeed see the ridiculous AOC Spurgfest on H-Bomber Guy stream. I thought it was kind of sad, really. I mean, like, it felt all manufactured, but then I never really get the feeling of genuine emotion from H-Bomber Guy. Everything he says feels forced, And so when he's like, oh, it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or whatever, it's like, it just didn't look very realistic to me. Maybe it's because he's been up for like 20 hours or something playing a video game. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. But then I probably would have found it more believable if he wasn't like, could I ask you to say trans rights? And it's like, dude, what do you think she believes? Like, what do you think she believes? You know that she supports trans rights. Everyone does. It's like, there is no one on earth thinks that she doesn't. Even people who don't know who she is know she supports trans rights. Okay, like it was so silly, like really, really silly. What do I think about Wendy's? I have actually eaten in a Wendy's. Like with all American food, fast food, I can't believe there is a single thin person in your entire country. I cannot fucking believe your country and the calories you serve to people. It's like I've started a diet, right? And I got a friend of mine to he's an actual like dietitian. He's actually going through some course for it and stuff. And so I'm going to actually make me up a timetable of food that I can eat. So when I'm at home, I am eating it, and it's really not that bad because he's sort of specking it, my diet, for feeling full. Because my problem is I can eat all the time. I'm just one of those people who could just sit there grazing all damn day every day because I'm a fat fuck. Which is why I'm a fat fuck, incidentally. But I'm not gonna stop it. Obviously, it's gonna be a long-term thing. The worst part about it, though, and I thought this would be great. I thought oats. I mean, oats are like they're lower in carbs or something than other foods for whatever reason. So oats I get to have for breakfast. I thought, okay, great. Oats and hazelnut milk sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Fucking awful. Fucking awful. It was really bad, and now I'm stuck with. I mean, I could have cow's milk, I suppose, probably, but I'm kind of stuck with it. So wait, is Sargon antibody positive? Yes. I'm going to try not to be so fat. Hold my Big Mac, I can eat on these nuggets, dude. Right when I saw Donald Trump. The table spread full of Big Macs. The fat bastard part of my brain is like, wow, that looks amazing. Trump completely won me over with it. Like, Trump knows who his base is. Lard asses who rampage on the internet. How do I feel about no bullshit? I feel that his name's a lie. I was wondering what some of your favourite YouTube channels of people you disagree with. Yeah, I like Kyle Kolinski, I like Jimmy Dore, I like David Pakman. These are not nefarious actors, in my opinion. I just think they're misinformed. There was another lefty one. I still watch the Young Turks because a lot of the time they'll cover a topic that I just haven't really heard about from somewhere else. But honestly, nowadays it's just hate watching the Young Turks. I just find myself banging my head off my desk all the time with the Young Turks. It's really annoying. Have I been following Sarah Rao's meltdown since your interview with her? No, she blocked me. What was she doing? What was she saying? Someone was asking me, will I ever take on Innuendo Studios? I've really meant to do that. I really meant to. And I saw the distributist talking about his latest video, because I watched it the other day, and he is... and this is what prompted the tweet that I put out that Mike Cernovich retweeted. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was basically both sides effectively view the other one as evil at this point, not stupid. And it started with the Democrats. The Democrats started doing that. The Republicans may have been contemptuous and dismissive of the left, but they were always saying, look, you're stupid, not you're bad. Now it's getting to the point where, like, you're bad because the left is saying we're socialists, and the Republicans are like, but socialism is evil. And when the Republicans say that, they're not wrong. They're not fucking wrong. Because, like, there's a tweet of Owen Jones going around going, hey, Phil Dyson or something, the guy who owns a Dyson vacuum cleaners. It's like, it'd be a shame if someone nationalized your company. It's like, bitch, that's just an open threat of force to steal from a private businessman. And Dyson's like one of Britain's like biggest companies, blah, 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 homegrown success story, all that sort of thing. And Owen Jones, the predatory socialist, is like, yeah, we're going to take that. It's like, get fucked, Owen. Honestly. Fucking, I can't wait until your revolution, buddy. Did I smoke with Joe Rogan off camera? No, I didn't. You mean like regarding a private platform as a public square? Well, Dyson isn't a public square, is it? But I think a private platform could be considered a public square. I'm sure that won't be annoying to anyone. Yes, I would get in a boxing ring with Owen. Owen, just tell me how much money you want me to donate to charity and I will box you. What does his garage studio smell like, though? Nothing unpleasant, I guess. I didn't notice anything. Sayura has got more and more unhinged, but commenters are aggressively limericking at her earlier. It was entertaining as hell. Yeah, I wish people wouldn't, though. I do wish people wouldn't. Because the more you do that sort of thing, the more people realize, I don't, it's not like harassment or anything, but like, the more people are put off of doing it. So, like, The Amazing Atheist is the other left-wing commentator I listen to. Sorry, what are your feelings on The Amazing Atheist? Yeah, that was the one. In fact, to be honest with you, I think his videos have been getting better of late. Even if he's got an opinion that I don't agree with, I'm still happy to listen to his argument, and they're really not that bad, So it's, I think I'm quite enjoying his work at the moment, actually. But like a lot of things, you dip in and dip out of certain content creators, don't you? Would you be interested in doing an interview with Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire? Yeah, of course. I feel bad for Michael Knowles because he seems just as knowledgeable on like republicanism as the rest, but he's treated as the garbage boy, and I'm so Michael Knowles is pretty good actually. He's one of my favorites. Although I've got to say my favorite of the Daily Wire is Andrew Klavan. I fucking love Andrew Klavan. It's just like he's like a classic sort of old time commentator, even again, and I disagree with like a lot of what he says, but it's just the way he presents the ideas is I find tickling, and I find like appealing. But Ben is obviously the most talented of the group, but I think Claven's excellent. But yeah, JJ4884, send me an email to sargonaccad100@gmail.com and you'll get a reply email with Callum's contact email so he can arrange stuff with you, because I have to have an organizer. This is the thing, right? People forget how much work just administration is. It's an entire job, and I goddamn hate it. I've already given my thoughts on 3 hours. Not impressed. What's my favourite alcoholic beverage? Metaxa. Oof, can't stand boomer, peak dad paleoconservatism. Yeah, he is. Yeah, Klavan is absolutely peak paleoconservatism, dad conservative. But I still like him. I still really like him. But this is the thing, right? I've made it a point to consume media from both sides of the aisle. So I have to watch the Young Turks and the Daily Wire. The Young Turks I find broadly irredeemable at this point. Only like the Jimmy Dawes, Carl Kalinskis, and David Pacmans of the group are worth anything, in my opinion. And I'm watching Kyle slide further and further to the left. I mean, he seems to have let go of the label liberal now. So I think he's full on in socialist mode. But he's convinced that the far left is the source of all good, and I really don't think it is. But I don't think the far right's the source of all good either. Am I a private person or a public citizen? Well, I'm both, actually. I want to ask you, will you do the video on the EU elections? Well, which ones? Jenna's already throwing hissy. Oh, what, the actual European elections? Well, it's interesting you should bring them up, because it may be that we have a chance to send a round of MEPs to Europe before we leave, if we don't leave on time or something like that. And UKIP doesn't have an MEP for the Southwest. I'm just saying, that's the state of affairs, I think. So, academic agent, right, okay, yeah. He made me argue for why he should not murder every leftist the other day. Yeah, he's getting quite radical, isn't he? I see him on Twitter just calling leftists vile, and he's not wrong. I mean, a lot of them are. V has 2 separate Discord accounts. Yeah, probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Shapiro's fine if he sticks to US constitutional law. Yeah, he's fantastic when it comes to that. Isn't he a lawyer, though? I mean, that would explain that, wouldn't it? But I don't want to hear his opinion on religion, to be honest. I'm tired of it. And he always gets shifty whenever you talk about a Jewish conspiracy. It's really weird. Like, I don't believe in a Jewish conspiracy, but he makes me believe in a Jewish conspiracy when he starts getting nervous. So, no, I'm just joking, obviously. Sorry, I'm just going to try and catch up with Would I collab with PewDiePie if you could get away with the controversy? Yeah, of course. I'd love to get. I'd love to. Do you know what I want? I want to sit down and interview with PewDiePie, but he doesn't do them. And it's like, God damn it! I just want to. I just want to talk to him about like what it's like to be PewDiePie. You know, so try and give people on the outside of his experience of life a kind of insight into it, and just what he thinks of a bunch of stuff, really. But the thing is, a lot of it. If I okay, so. Weirdly, I watch a lot of PewDiePie's content now. It's really weird. I don't know why I do, but I find myself really enjoying it. Like, genuinely, like, I end up doing, like, you know, the odd chore or something, like, how, you know, dishes or something, and I'll put PewDiePie's latest video on, today's video on, and I'll just listen to him just talking about whatever he's talking about, just having a laugh at it. And it's like, and he makes a lot of anti-SJW sort of cracks in them as well, which I'm like, you know, I love it. I was really enjoying it. But the thing is, the videos themselves, like, he'll talk about interesting stuff, and he's, you know, been, like, reading books and recommending stuff, and it's like, Jesus Christ. You know, this, you know, we could have done way worse for the guy who was the biggest guy on YouTube, for the sort of, like, I guess, just the regular people of YouTube. We could have done way worse than PewDiePie being in the top spot. Imagine if it was Casey fucking Neistat, you know. It'd be awful, wouldn't it? So... have I been in contact with Leo Lesser about his complaint he's filing with the FTC about Patreon? Well, Callum has, and I was actually meant to do a live stream with him the other day, but I was really exhausted. Again, this is why I want to get extra people, right? And it's hard to explain, but like, it can be not. It can just be tiring to have to be on all the time, like when you're doing stuff. You know, you don't. I guess you don't. I don't feel like I get to wind down, and then if you do that for long enough, I have been getting kind of not stressed, but like just like I've just needed some time on my own to not work, and so like I've been playing Left 4 Dead recently, like with a few people from Discord. And just, you know, just been playing like Left 4 Dead 2, just running around, shoot some zombies. It's a way of just like clearing my mind and relaxing. And it's been working really well. And I'm hoping that I won't get to that point again. But the point is I had to reschedule with Leo. I think I've got it next week. Or this week, whatever day it is today. I don't know. When I don't do the Monday, right, okay, this week at some point. When I don't do This Week in Stupid, I have no idea when the days are. I just keep going. Which is probably a good thing, to be honest. But yeah, so basically, I will be talking to him. Have I been in contact with Law last? Yeah, I just read them. Do you ever feel you're playing too much to a side? Not saying you are, but do you ever look back in the conversation and think that maybe the other side have a proper point? Well, obviously, I think everyone does from time to time. I do try to take the points that they're making that are true, though. I think it is important to do that. I've been thinking about this a lot. I'll probably do a video about what liberalism can synthesize from socialism and fascism. Because the raison d'etre of liberalism, the reason it's lasted so long is because it changes. You know, it can change itself to fit the situation, and does. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I think that what we should do is talk to... Well, not necessarily talk to them, but like look at the legitimate points they're bringing up and try and address them from a liberal perspective rather than a socialist or a fascist one, because that's often what the problem is. And these problems like create people who are concerned about the effect of what's happening, and then you have to be prepared with a fully formed narrative as to why you have the solution to it. This is why I think that when the alt-right was first a thing and it was this giant sort of conglomeration of people, before it split into like the alt-light and then the alt-right, you know, the Paul Joseph Watson types, I think it got kind of steamrolled by the white nationalists on the question of like Jews and things like this, because they had a fully formed narrative. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. It just has to be persuasive. And this, in my opinion, is why the alt-right went the way it did. I think it could have gone the other way had it had strong narratives in other directions, but it didn't. There we go. But so, what? Yeah, do I feel like I'm playing too much to a side? Not really. I don't talk about religion much. I think if I talked about religion more than I do, then I'd probably have more Republicans who are angry with me. But I don't. So I guess that the Republicans feel kind of safe on my channel at the moment. Not that I'm trying to make you feel unsafe, obviously. But the thing is, I know that a lot of you are actually remarkably robust in your tolerance of criticism and your commitment to secularism. So any disagreement we had on religion would just be academic, just be like conceptual. It wouldn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not really interested in discussing whether God exists. I've already made up my mind on it, and I don't really care whether you believe it. It doesn't matter to me. And the thing is, a part of it, like, it seems like a way of giving someone like an existential crisis, and that seems mean. I think what would be more sensible when it comes to people and religion is to just curb their tyrannical impulses with religion. I don't really want to take someone's religion away from them. I just want them to realize that their religion is private. It's not the public business. Is not your religion is not public business. And if you make it public business, then you are the problem. Go and enjoy your religion. Go away. No one has to hear about it. Sorry if I'm gulping that tea, but it occurred to me how dry my mouth was. Starship Troopers show with the original movie cast is being planned. Oh, really? Oh, really? Ed Neumeyer. You might want to give me a fucking email, mightn't you? Because you're going to fuck this up. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, V. But we'll talk about it another time, man. Do you think that Kamala Harris has a chance to win the 2020 election? Who do I think might be the Democrat nominee? Well, I think it's way too early to tell who the Democrat nominee is at the moment. I watched Kamala Harris's... I actually only got time to watch about half of it. The CNN put up a video of it, and so I watched it. She sounds imperial. She sounds like a complete neocon, and like a neocon socialist. She started declaring new rights. We're going to declare these things to be rights, and I'm really sick of things being declared as rights when what we're saying is really that they are entitlements. Anything that's a positive right is just an entitlement. Positive rights don't exist. The very idea of them needs to die. Can I not stream on Sargon of Akkad live streams? Well, I can technically do it, but if I do, then YouTube have the freedom, according to their terms and service, to just terminate my channel, and I don't want to give them that freedom. Of course, it doesn't mean they're not going to do it anyway at some point, but I don't want to risk the thing, because it says in the terms of service you're not allowed to live stream at all on any of your channels, but you can go on someone else's channel, apparently. Meme review, would I go on meme review? Yeah, I would, but PewDiePie doesn't want me. Sargon review. Yeah, I need to do another troll review for that Mam one, the macho Mam one, but I just haven't the time, but I will do. PewDiePie makes good content. Oh, Christ, I'm looking at really old messages, aren't I? I will do it. I just haven't had time. No, I'm sure. No, PewDiePie doesn't hate me. I'm sure. I'm sure he doesn't hate me, but he's got more important people to get on his channel, I think is what I was saying. There are definitely more important people than me that he should try and get. Definitely, in fact. My freedom trumps your right to live. Yeah, well, honestly, I'm rather black-pilled on rights recently. I've been doing it I'm reading a lot of stuff. It's it's kind of all entitlements. No, I don't mean that. It's kind of depressing though to think about a lot of this sort of stuff. Do I embrace our corporate overlords? What choice do we fucking have? Go on EFAP, you boomer, and talk about movies. Yeah, I will. I've just been really busy. I had to go meeting in London. The thing is that a lot of stuff you don't see is stuff that isn't content, but I still have to, network and things like this, because that's how it works, and everyone has to do it. And I tell you what, right, that's why content creators become distant from what they were when they start getting big. They start networking with other people, and that becomes their social circle, and that becomes, the class of what you're dealing with there. I'm trying to avoid that, but it's difficult. I'm not going to lie, it's really fucking difficult. You have to, and so, because it's the only way you can get in contact with anyone else and actually have interesting collaborations. But I think that by being cognizant of this, the fact that this happens, I can mitigate its negative effects and do stuff like this, where I'm just talking to you guys directly, Might be why PewDiePie doesn't do interviews. Yeah, it could be. It could indeed be. I mean, he's in a position to, not have to do them as well. So, you should really read Byzantium Decline and Fall by John Norwich. I'm sure it's awesome. I've actually read quite a lot of just history around that area and eras for the Byzantines. So I should. It's always good. I mean, like I dread to think how many books about Hannibal I've read at this point. What is the weird shit with the German question? Well, you say that, but there's a word in German for the German question. I can't remember it though, but basically it means a kind of pathology of taking ideas to their uttermost extent. Following like autistic logic, effectively. I don't know what their word is though, but Douglas Murray actually brings up in his book, because it's not something that I've apparently been alone in noticing, that the German mindset has a kind of systematic nature, and that means following any line of logic to its very end, whereas the English mindset is very chaotic and scrambled, in fact, in comparison, and can have many contradictions just living in perpetuity. And that's something that a lot of, in fact, this Reinier, the Dutch or German, I think one of the two, doctor from the 30s, in his The English, Are They Human? This is one thing that he at the very beginning of the book, he starts complaining about. It's like, look, England is just a land of contradictions. Everyone is in contradiction with something else, and yet they're all just getting on with it. And to the continental mind, and what I call, I suppose, the German mind, that must really seem infuriating. But I would say to that, chill out. It's not as bad as you think. Logical inconsistency is life, I am afraid. It's no fighting it. Do I have milk in my tea? Yes, because I'm a racist. Why do Germans seemingly want to control everything always? Because they're systematic thinkers. I mean, if you could adopt a German mindset when you're given a closed environment and told, right, you have to order this, and you'd order it to to an autistic degree, and so you'd get on with it. You'd spend the time just arranging structures, and that's what the Germans tend to do. Make PewDiePie make a This Week in Stupid episode. Yeah, I should have donated the franchise to him, shouldn't I? So I'm like, here you go, PewDiePie. You can buy this off me, or you can have this. Are we going to play Chivalry again? I'm definitely up for some Chivalry. I'm glad you suggested it. Do you watch Titty? And Do You Love Me? The episode is very... I've never heard of it, I'm afraid. Most efficient historical army. It's got to be the Mongols, I think. I think the Mongols achieved the most for the size of their armies, I think. I prefer the German-American mindset, the American mindset with German food and beer. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The American mindset is different. It's and again, compared to the British sort of mindset, it's very extreme. Your politics jump right to the nth degree from the very, very start of the argument. And this is why the Americans always have these little catchphrases for certain political positions, and I actually find them really cringy, but that's American politics for you. They're just shortcuts, obviously. What outcome for Brexit do you think would be best? Well, I think the best outcome would be us saying, look, we're not going to be part of the European Union, but we'd like to have a bunch of free trade deals with you. And if we cooperate with you on projects, then we're more than happy to pay our fair share. And I think that would be a really fair arrangement. And I think, because then the EU carries on doing its trade deals, it just loses sovereignty over Britain, but we don't disrupt their trade routes, we don't try and fuck with their economy, we don't try and fuck with their political system. I mean, they're doing a good enough job on that of their own. So I just, effectively it's like a mutual divorce. So, right, okay, we'll just carry on in the necessities. You're going to have the kids then and whatever, and we just will live in separate houses. And I think that would be a perfectly amicable thing to do. It wouldn't, I don't think, damage the European Union unless it happens that Britain succeeds massively outside of the European Union. And given how Britain's probably the biggest growing economy, or one of the biggest growing economies in Europe, suck it Germany, then it looks like we might do really well outside of the European Union. And I suppose that everyone else seeing that would be doing that meme with the guy looking at the other girl, like, just saying, the European Union seems like a problem. It seems to be a product of systematic German thinking, Miss Merkel, Chancellor, sorry. I'm just saying, they don't need to be legislating the length of candle wicks. That's what they were doing when I was there. When I went there, they were legislating the length of fucking candle wicks. And I'm just like, is that not the candle maker's job? It's not the European Union's fucking job, okay? But this is it. They're totalitarian. They think everything is up for grabs, and they have the will to do it. If it hasn't been fucked with yet, that's just because they haven't got to it. I definitely cannot stress how good it is to get out of the European Union, in my opinion. Just from a liberty perspective. From the perspective of liberty. And Article 13 will just when that comes in, I think the European Union are actually starting to backtrack on it. I haven't been following it, but someone told me the other day that there's been a lot of rumblings of discontent, even among the sort of pro-European minded side, because even YouTube now are having a public crusade against Article 13. Like, even YouTube have a campaign called Save Yourself or Save YouTube or something like that, where they're campaigning against Article 13 because it's obvious that it's going to bring in a whole raft of new censorship. It's going to be a massive barrier to entry to competition, Silicon Valley as well, which is rather ironic given how the whole point of it is to try and strike back against Silicon Valley. But what the European Union is doing is just kind of validating them and securing their position as the hegemon of the internet, frankly. And I don't think that Silicon Valley should be the fucking hegemon of the internet. I think that, places like Subscribestar deserve to exist. So, and they should exist to create a healthy market. So, yeah, the whole thing is a bad idea, and it was born out of World War II and a fear of mass, genocidal wars coming along again. But I don't think we're in any chance of a genocidal war at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. I think everyone's being way too overdramatic. When the UK is outside of the EU, then Labour and the Conservatives can have their way with the country without anyone stopping them. Well, the thing is, it's like, imagine Labour and the Conservatives having their way with the country without anyone stopping them, and then imagine that you had a superior and untouchable figure standing behind them when it was, standing in front of them in that queue to do the things that you don't want them to do. That's the European Union. So yeah, they will still be able to do stuff, but at least the EU won't be pushing them even further down that road. Oh, you mean like the Queen? Yeah. Right, mustard gas should be commercially bought. No, disavow. I love Jeremy the Coin saying, disavow. Oh, he didn't get the joke that those who had been voted into power would have had their way with the country. Yeah, well, the thing is, my problem is that effectively my objection to the European Union is the same as the American Revolution. It's like no taxation without representation, bitch. I'm not paying for Juncker's salary to go get drunk and make backroom dealings about Britain in secret to whatever end he fucking wants. I'm not having it. I'm not fucking having it. Okay? If I'm paying his salary, even the tiniest sliver of it, I want the man to be able to have to be voted for. I realise that's not a standard that Britain actually holds to, but when it comes to sovereigns, it should do. And in effect, in Britain, the sovereign is the Prime Minister, and in Europe, it's Juncker. Probably it's Merkel, actually, but, different thing. Oh, man, the marriage of France and Germany has been... I'm going to do a video about the romance between France and Germany. And then Macron and Merkel just kissing and holding hands and renewing their vows to one another. It's been so cute. They're such an adorable couple. How long until it comes out that Macron is cheating on his wife with Merkel? because he's into his older ladies. He's got a bit on the side. I mean, I tell you, Macron's wife must be getting a bit jealous. She must be like, oh God, look at that bitch speaking German. You know that he gets turned on by that. When are we getting history videos? Yeah, well, never, basically. When I finish doing politics, which won't be for a number of years, I'm sure. But Caligula, like all of these Roman emperors have been very much over-dramatized, but a lot of them did do crazy stuff. The most relevant at the moment is probably Elagabalus, who is transgender. Incidentally, he said he would pay he would make a surgeon rich who could give him a vagina. Didn't happen, obviously, and he got murdered anyway because everyone found him to be disgusting. But he like prostituted himself and things like this. But yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. Fake news: Macron only dates younger black guys. Yeah, what is going on with the pictures of him hugging topless men? Like, African men, in fact? Why? What are you doing, Macron? Like, I thought you were the Jupiterian Prince of France. The fuck are you doing? Like, why are you hanging out with any sweaty, shirtless men at all? Anyway, what is the best game of all time? Good question. I'd probably go Rome Total War. That's what I'd probably go for. Sure, it's old now, but like in its day, it was fucking incredible. And it had multiplayer as well, which was amazing. Do you think we shouldn't have to pay for BBC via TV licenses? Yeah, I'm at that point. I was kind of nostalgic about the BBC about 3 or 4 years ago, but now I'm just like, you know what, defund it. I don't see why I have to pay a fucking license fee to be told that I'm bad for being a white man. Frankly, get bent. I'm not going to pay you, you bigots. Edward the First or Edward the Third? Who was the best king? It's got to be Edward the First, I would say. Hammer of the Scots. I think. I don't know what the Latin of that is. Scotus Malleocorum or something. How are the Democrats supposed to defend their positions on Venezuela and democratic socialism in the light of the country over the last years? They don't. They just tell you to get bent, and they aren't going to listen to your arguments. They're not going to do it like that, though. This is the problem, right? You have to understand. Every socialist always say, well, that's not real socialism because that's not what I would have done. I would have done only the good things, without realizing that the people who are doing the bad things are doing so out of necessity. Which means, and a necessity that has been generated by their own, by their own actions. They've taken action that has generated the necessity because of the backlash for them to now have to do this or that or the other or whatever it is, and they're complaining about it. It's like, well, I'm sorry that you have to tyrannize the public in order to make socialism work, but that's honestly my major complaint about it and why I find it to be immoral. Like, just what do you want? It's bad. You can't say, well, that's not how I do it, because ultimately it is how you do it. You're just not there yet, and you don't want to do that. I'm sure you don't want to do it, but that's how you'd fucking do it, bitch. Just don't even at me, Kyle Kalinske. I don't know why he wants to go so far left. I really don't. Like, I don't see anything good coming from these extremes. Thoughts on Rhodesia? Better than Zimbabwe, isn't it? Just saying. Louis is a Spurg. Yeah, you are a Spurg, Louis, but that's okay. That's one of the reasons I like your channel, to be honest. So don't stop being a Spurg. In the UK, the monarch has de jure supreme authority. Yeah, she does, but de facto is the Prime Minister. What's your opinion of transhumanism and our progress into the digital realm? Are we going to get the Sargonator anytime soon? Well, I don't think there is any such thing as uploading your brain into a computer and it being very useful for the person with the body. Like, you can say, well, this is a perfect copy of so-and-so's brain at this time. It's like, okay, well, that's true. And if you want it to remain a perfect copy, you can't really talk to it. You know, it won't be able to hold a conversation, because if you start allowing it to make changes, to take in information about, like, the conversation you're having, to remember the last sentence or what the subject of the conversation is, then it's no longer an exact copy of that guy's brain. So, you know, how long before it's so different that it's not even applicable to the real thing? And for the person with the body, you're still going to die. Like, it's, you've still got your brain in your head and it's still going to be thinking. You'll just have a copy of it on a computer that you won't be able to see when you're dead. So, and at the end of the day, holy shit, who is so goddamn special that we need to map their brain and save it for posterity? I mean, there's a very, very small number of people who need their brains mapped for posterity, I tell you that. Very fucking small. So, but when it comes to like cybernetic implants and things like this, okay, I'm sure they're going to have their problems. Like, do you want your cyber arm to be hacked or something? It'll probably happen at some point. It's I haven't got a moral objection to people doing that sort of stuff to their body or anything like that. Right, I'll go for a couple more questions. I'll wrap up because I don't know how long I've been doing this for, and I've got to render it and upload it, and it's gone 1 o'clock. I am exhausted, but I'll put out a video tomorrow about Subscribestar as well. What do you think about the end of the shutdown? I haven't been following it as closely as I should have been. I need to look into. I haven't listened to Trump's rambling speech. I watched a few minutes. Well, probably like a minute of it, and I was like, okay, I've got other things I need to do. But I'm surprised. I thought he'd push it harder. I mean, it was the longest shutdown in history, I suppose. There is that. But the Democrats are being really unreasonable on this issue. There's no reason they need to do any of this. It's all ideological. Like, they're not against spending money. They want trillions. So Trump's saying, give me 5 billion or 7 billion or whatever. Like, it's not nearly, it's not a scratch on what the Democrats want. But I think that the Democrats are just being obstructionist at this point. Also, mods, stop oppressing the Zethno state. I tell you what, Argyle, if you want to do another video, definitely up for another video for the Zethno state. I do need to promote Discord again, so. But yeah, I think there have been a lot of people like shitting on Trump for this, and from his own side. I think they're being extremists, frankly, in the same way that the Democrats are being extremists. Like, okay, Trump couldn't achieve. Like this, was the wrong move, or wasn't working, or whatever, for whatever reason. I'm sure he's got more information about the situation than I do. So he's made this call, and it's like, okay, well, honestly, Trump's decision making is usually pretty good. He's got a good gut for this kind of stuff. He's good at watching where persuasive argumentation is going, I think, and I think he puts stock in other people's intelligence and judges them on. Like, why, they're saying that, and Trump's like, okay, all right, well, a lot of people are saying this, so there must be some merit to it. We'll go with this. And I think that's how a lot of his decision-making works. And I'm not using this bad, basically. I think it's his gut instincts, And so if he feels the need to do that, I'm just like, well, okay, I mean, he must have reason, but it's like, it's not like some total collapse or anything. Like, everyone wants to make it out, oh my God, that's it, Trump's over. It's like, no, that's not. It's not nearly as bad as you think. It's actually, it's a rearguard action from the Democrats. This is what this is. Like they have said no wall on for anything, all pain of death sort of thing, and it's like, okay, but that's a really minor issue. Like, I mean, Trump wants that wall, but it's symbolic. It's a symbolic thing. It'll be the Great Wall of Trump. And Trump will get it. He just won't get it yet. I don't think he's going to stop. I think he'll do some sort of emergency action or something, whatever it is, So I think the Democrats it's a minor victory that has just prevented total catastrophe from the Democrat position. Because if you set your position as Trump must not have this wall, and then if this year or whatever, he can just do, oh, it's an emergency now, there's another caravan comes, and he can say, well, here we go, some leftist NGO has organized another caravan of 10,000 people or whatever to travel up from Guatemala or, wherever, to try and invade the US. We need that wall. This is a national emergency. Look at all this tear gas that's being thrown. Time to give me that wall funding. And then he gets it, and the Democrats just be there, like, just pounding on the floor and having a tantrum. And it's like, well, there we go. You should have had something out of it, shouldn't you? You should have come to the table and said, right, okay, yeah, we'll do it for single payer healthcare, whatever it is, big big demand, big fucking demand from the Democrats. They could, because Trump really, he's staking a lot on this wall, and he knows that he's going to have to give a lot to get it. I'm sure he knows this, and I bet that he would be reasonable when it came to what they could have got from him. But now it's just going to be even more obstructionism, which is great. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just some guy on the internet, so. Who knows? We'll see, I suppose. And, with any kind of political predictions and stuff like that, there's nothing, nothing's certain. And something crazy might happen tomorrow, and and then I get Thunderfoot forever and a day tweeting at me. But the thing is, what I'm saying about Le Pen Thunderfoot is that maybe, just maybe, I was too early with my prediction. Not that I was wrong. How are Macron's poll ratings doing, Mr. Foot? And what was it? There was another one as well. 30 intellectuals, left-wing intellectuals, had said that the EU is suffering effectively a collapse, and I think it is. I don't think the EU is going to be there for that much longer. I think it's going to collapse in on itself as France and Germany get married and have sex with one another. Right, I'll take one more. Deport the whites with the big brain Sargon. Yeah, you know what? I've been enjoying attack-fearing white races, white people from the white race. I find it very amusing to. I want racial purity for white people, is what I'm saying, right? I want the white race to be as pure as it can be, right? Now, I am obviously not pure enough to be in the white race, but then neither is Millennial Woes, because he's 7% Italian. And yeah, so basically, I mean, I think we can get it down to Scotland, Norway, and parts of Ireland. So if we work really hard at this kind of genetic divide and conquer, we'll call it. This is how we stop the alt-right. I'm just messing around. But anyway, what about Wales? Too much blackface. Too much of a history of blackface in Wales. All those coal miners coming up with their faces painted black. They're not part of the white race. They're out. Which means that South America's out, but America's out anyway. Jesus Christ, what am I saying? I mean, Elizabeth Warren's like the last white person left in America, isn't she? Anyway, so yeah, thanks for hanging out and chatting, guys. I've had a really good time, and I hope you've had fun too. Like I said, the Patreon video I'll do is going to be out tomorrow. So I don't think I actually have any more information than I put in than I told you guys. Although people watching this as I'm recording it, we'll have to find out in the video tomorrow. But yeah, fingers crossed. If all goes well on the Subscribe Star side of things, then we should see quite an increase in quality and quantity of content. Because I won't be doing it all myself, and I definitely need help. Frankly, it's come to the point where I just passed 900,000 subscribers, and I'm like, okay, that's I don't really think about the numbers anymore. I just don't think about numbers. I think about the thing that I'm doing, But when it comes to money, I suppose you have to think about numbers. But yeah, anyway, so hopefully I will be able to make that sustainable, and we'll be able to produce lots of good content, and we will change a lot of minds, because ultimately that's what this is about. So anyway, take it easy, everyone, and I'll speak to you all later.